The tapes that were never supposed to exist just surfaced in the most explosive way imaginable. Over 200 never-before-seen videos suddenly appeared in federal evidence, and what they allegedly revealed about Tupac Shakur's murder sent shockwaves through a courtroom that thought it had seen everything. For nearly 3 decades, the death of hip-hop's greatest legend remained one of music's most haunting mysteries. But now, as prosecutors unveiled digital evidence that had been hidden in the shadows of the entertainment industry, Sean "Diddy" Combs found himself facing allegations that connected him to the night that changed rap music forever. The chaos that erupted wasn't just about legal revelations, it was about the moment when the most protected secrets of the East Coast-West Coast War finally came to light. What could these mysterious tapes contain that federal investigators believe ties one of hip-hop's biggest moguls to the assassination that shook the world? The real story of Tupac's murder. Tupac Amaru Shakur was fatally shot on September 7, 1996, in Las Vegas, Nevada, following a Mike Tyson boxing match at the MGM Grand. The 25-year-old rapper was struck by multiple gunshots while sitting in the passenger seat of a BMW driven by Death Row Records CEO Suge Knight. The shooting occurred at approximately 11:15 p.m. at the intersection of Flamingo Road and Koval Lane after Tupac and Knight left the Tyson fight. Witnesses reported that a white Cadillac pulled alongside their vehicle and opened fire before speeding away into the Las Vegas night. Tupac was rushed to University Medical Center, where he remained in critical condition for 6 days before succumbing to his injuries on September 13, 1996. The case became one of the most investigated unsolved murders in music history, generating countless theories about motives and potential suspects. The Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department conducted extensive investigations over the years, interviewing hundreds of witnesses and following numerous leads, but the case remained officially unsolved for over 2 decades until recent developments. In 2023, Dwayne Keefe D. Davis was arrested and charged with murder in connection with Tupac's death, marking the first arrest in the case after 27 years of investigation and speculation about who was responsible for the legendary rapper's assassination. The East Coast-West Coast hip-hop war. The mid-1990s hip-hop scene was dominated by an intense rivalry between East Coast and West Coast rap artists and record labels that created a highly charged atmosphere of competition and conflict within the music industry. The feud intensified around 1994 to 1995, with Death Row Records representing the West Coast, led by Suge Knight and featuring artists like Tupac Shakur and Dre, while Bad Boy Entertainment represented the East Coast, led by Sean "Diddy" Combs and featuring the Notorious B.I.G. Personal and professional tensions escalated when Tupac was shot and robbed in New York in 1994, after which he publicly accused Biggie and Bad Boy Entertainment of being involved in the attack, though these allegations were consistently denied by all parties. The rivalry played out through diss tracks, public statements, and media coverage that amplified tensions between the coasts, creating an atmosphere where personal conflicts became intertwined with business competition and artistic expression. Questions arise about how business rivalries and personal conflicts might have contributed to the violent atmosphere that characterized this period in hip-hop history, and whether industry figures played roles in escalating tensions. Dwayne Keefe D. Davis and recent revelations. Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, a former member of the Southside Compton Crips, was arrested in September 2023 and charged with murder with the use of a deadly weapon in connection with Tupac's death, representing the first arrest in the case after 27 years. Davis had previously admitted in interviews and his memoir to being in the car from which the fatal shots were fired, claiming he was present during the shooting but identifying his nephew Orlando Anderson as the actual shooter, though Anderson died in 1998. The arrest came after decades of investigation that included Davis providing information to law enforcement in various contexts, including grand jury testimony and interviews where he discussed details about the night of the shooting. Legal experts note that Davis's statements over the years provided investigators with crucial information about the events leading up to Tupac's murder and the individuals who were allegedly involved in planning and carrying out the shooting. The case against Davis is based on Nevada law that allows prosecution of individuals who aid and abet murders, even if they didn't personally fire the shots, making his alleged presence in the vehicle sufficient for murder charges. Allegations and conspiracy theories about Diddy. Over the years, various conspiracy theories and allegations have suggested connections between Sean Diddy, Combs, and Tupac's murder, though no credible evidence has ever been presented to support these claims in official legal proceedings. Some theories have alleged that the East Coast-West Coast rivalry involved more than just musical competition, suggesting that business interests and personal conflicts may have escalated to involve criminal activity, though these remain unproven allegations. The most persistent theories have suggested that the rivalry between Bad Boy Entertainment and Death Row Records created motives for violence. Though law enforcement investigations have not substantiated claims of direct involvement by record label executives, Diddy has consistently denied any involvement in Tupac's murder throughout his career, and no credible evidence has emerged in official investigations to support allegations connecting him to the crime. Questions arise about how conspiracy theories develop around high-profile cases and whether speculation based on business rivalries and personal conflicts can overshadow factual evidence in criminal investigations. The reality of federal evidence procedures. Federal investigations involving decades-old cases often involve reviewing extensive amounts of potential evidence, including digital materials, witness statements, and physical evidence that may have been collected over years of investigation. The process of analyzing digital evidence in criminal cases requires specialized expertise and legal procedures to ensure that materials are authentic, properly obtained, and admissible in court proceedings under federal evidence rules. Federal prosecutors must establish clear chains of custody for evidence and demonstrate that digital materials have not been altered or manipulated before they can be used to support criminal charges in court. The authentication of video evidence requires technical analysis and expert testimony to establish when, where, and how recordings were made, and whether they accurately represent the events they purport to show. Legal experts note that the introduction of substantial amounts of digital evidence in criminal cases requires careful preparation and presentation to ensure that juries can understand the significance and reliability of technological materials. Courtroom procedures and evidence presentation. Federal courtrooms maintain strict protocols for the presentation of evidence, particularly in high-profile cases that involve extensive media attention and public interest in criminal proceedings. The introduction of large amounts of digital evidence requires advance notice to defense attorneys and court approval of procedures for displaying and analyzing materials during trial proceedings. Courtroom security measures often include restrictions on recording and photography to prevent unauthorized distribution of evidence and protect the integrity of legal proceedings. The dramatic presentation of evidence in criminal cases is typically managed through established legal procedures rather than spontaneous courtroom events that might compromise the fairness of proceedings. Questions arise about how courts balance public interest in high-profile cases with the need to maintain orderly proceedings and protect the rights of all parties involved in criminal prosecutions. The challenge of decades-old cases. Criminal cases involving murders that occurred decades ago face unique challenges in terms of evidence preservation, witness availability, and the reliability of statements made years after alleged crimes. The passage of time can affect the quality of physical evidence, the accuracy of witness memories, and the availability of individuals who may have had relevant information about criminal activities. Technological advances in evidence analysis can sometimes provide new insights into old cases, though investigators must carefully evaluate whether new techniques applied to old evidence meet current legal standards. The motivation for pursuing decades-old cases often involves new evidence, witness cooperation, or technological capabilities that were not available during initial investigations. Legal experts note that successful prosecution of old cases requires substantial evidence that can overcome the challenges created by the passage of time and meet current legal standards for criminal responsibility. Media coverage and public fascination. The Tupac murder case has generated extensive media coverage and public fascination for nearly 3 decades, with countless documentaries, books, and articles exploring various theories about what was responsible for H's death. Public interest in the case reflects both Tupac's enormous cultural impact and the mysterious circumstances surrounding his murder, which occurred at the height of his career and cultural influence. The combination of celebrity, mystery, and unresolved questions creates an environment where speculation and theories often receive more attention than factual evidence or official investigation findings. Social media platforms have amplified interest in the case while also providing forums for conspiracy theories and speculation that may not be based on credible evidence or official investigation findings. Questions arise about how media coverage and public speculation might affect legal proceedings and whether extensive publicity could influence witness testimony or jury selection in criminal cases. The impact on hip-hop culture. Tupac's murder, along with the death of the notorious B.I.G. 6 months later, marked a tragic turning point in hip-hop culture that forced the industry to confront the real-world consequences of artistic and business rivalries. The loss of two of hip-hop's most talented and influential artists led to industry-wide discussions about violence, rivalry, and the responsibility of artists and executives to promote peace rather than conflict. The East Coast-West Coast feud gradually subsided after these tragedies, with many artists and industry figures working to promote unity and collaboration rather than regional competition and personal conflicts. The cultural impact of these murders continues to influence hip-hop music and culture, with many artists and fans viewing them as watershed moments that changed the direction and priorities of the hip-hop community. The ongoing fascination with these cases reflects their lasting impact on music history and the continued desire for justice and closure in cases that affected an entire generation of artists and fans. Conspiracy theories versus factual evidence. The Tupac murder case has generated numerous conspiracy theories over the years, ranging from allegations about record label involvement to claims about government conspiracies and cover-ups. The persistence of conspiracy theories often reflects the public's difficulty in accepting that such a significant cultural figure could be killed in what appears to be a relatively straightforward criminal act related to gang conflicts. Law enforcement investigations have consistently focused on evidence-based approaches that examine witness statements, physical evidence, and documented activities rather than speculation about complex conspiracies. The difference between credible evidence and conspiracy theories lies in the ability to verify claims through official sources, corroborating evidence, and legal standards that meet requirements for criminal prosecution. Questions arise about how conspiracy theories might interfere with legitimate investigations and whether public speculation could influence witness cooperation or evidence evaluation in ongoing criminal cases. Legal implications of recent developments. The arrest of Keith D. Davis in 2023 represents a significant development in the Tupac murder case, though legal experts note that successful prosecution will depend on the strength of evidence rather than public interest or speculation. The prosecution of decades-old murder cases requires substantial evidence that can overcome the challenges created by the passage of time, including issues with witness memory, evidence preservation, and legal standards. Defense strategies in such cases often focus on challenging the reliability of old evidence, questioning witness credibility, and arguing that the passage of time has compromised the fairness of legal proceedings. The outcome of the Davis case could provide closure for Tupac's family and fans while also establishing legal precedents for how similar cold cases might be prosecuted in the future. Legal experts wonder whether additional arrests might occur if the Davis prosecution reveals new evidence about other individuals who may have been involved in planning or carrying out Tupac's murder. The search for truth and justice. The ongoing investigation into Tupac's murder reflects law enforcement's commitment to pursuing justice even in decades-old cases, though the process requires careful evaluation of evidence and legal standards. The goal of criminal investigations is to establish factual truth based on credible evidence rather than to validate or disprove conspiracy theories that may not be supported by verifiable information. The pursuit of justice in high-profile cases must balance public interest and media attention with the need to maintain fair legal proceedings that protect the rights of all parties involved. The resolution of the Tupac case, whatever the outcome, will likely influence how similar cold cases are investigated and prosecuted, particularly those involving celebrities and public figures. Questions remain about whether the full truth about Tupac's murder will ever be known and whether legal proceedings can provide the closure that his family, friends, and fans have sought for nearly 3 decades. Protecting truth in high-profile cases. The responsibility of media outlets and content creators includes ensuring that coverage of ongoing criminal cases is based on factual information rather than speculation that might interfere with legal proceedings. The balance between public interest and legal fairness requires careful consideration of how reporting and content creation might affect witness testimony, jury selection, and the overall integrity of criminal cases. Educational content about legal processes and evidence standards can help audiences understand the difference between credible investigation findings and speculation or conspiracy theories that lack factual support. The protection of individual rights and legal processes requires recognition that false allegations and unfounded theories can cause real harm to people's reputations and interfere with legitimate criminal investigations. The commitment to truth and justice involves supporting evidence-based investigations while avoiding the promotion of theories that exceed factual evidence or official investigation findings. Looking toward resolution. The future development of the Tupac murder case will depend on legal proceedings involving Keith D. Davis and any additional evidence that may emerge during the prosecution process. The resolution of this decades-old case could provide important insights into the events that led to Tupac's death while also offering closure to those who have sought justice for nearly 3 decades. Questions remain about whether additional individuals might face charges if new evidence emerges during the legal proceedings and whether the full scope of the conspiracy, if any, will be revealed. The broader implications include potential insights into the violence that characterized the 1990s hip-hop scene and lessons about how personal and business conflicts can escalate into tragic consequences. The ultimate goal involves achieving justice based on factual evidence while honoring Tupac's memory and his enormous contributions to music and culture that continue to influence artists and fans worldwide. If you're as interested in the search for truth in this historic case as we are, go ahead and like this video. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think the arrest of Keith D will finally bring justice for Tupac? How do you separate credible evidence from conspiracy theories in high-profile cases? We want to hear your perspective on this case that has fascinated the hip-hop community for decades. Then, hit subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss our coverage of this developing story and its implications for hip-hop history and justice. Thanks for watching.